In all my previous videos on top dressing, I've always leveled the lawn using a mixture that contains sand of some sort. Now, several of you guys have reached out to me and wanted to know what kind of results can you expect to get if you were to level your lawn using purely an organic material. You also wanted to know if aerating the lawn is strictly necessary as part of the process. Now, I've never done that combination before, not aerating and using purely an organic mix, so today we're going to find out. Today, I'm going to level a part of my lawn using purely an organic mix, no aeration, and just to raise the difficulty factor, we're gonna be doing it on a slope. Let's get started. The section of my lawn we're gonna be working on today for the leveling work is the front lawn. Now, it's got quite a slope, and if you've looked at my previous content, you know that every time I've leveled the lawn, I've always aerated and always used a mixture of sand of some sort. Because we're beginners, renting an aerator can be kind of hard and challenging. You have to figure out some kind of way to get it home. You have to get it out and just wrestle with it. It's just harder. As well as getting sand in bulk can be kind of more challenging. What we're gonna do today is a very basic route. I think you're still gonna get a pretty good result with it using purely an organic mixture. Now, be sure to keep watching because I'm gonna do a complete cost breakdown of what everything costs to do this section of the lawn. And I'm also gonna share a bonus tip that's really useful for when you're working on a slope. With that, let's get into the tools you're gonna need. Now, because we're not aerating the lawn, you're really only gonna need one tool that I recommend for pulling this off, and that's a solid leveling rake. Now, unless you've top dressed your lawn before or leveled your lawn before, you likely don't have one of these guys, but they're super useful, and I highly recommend that you pick one up before attempting something like this for two reasons. One, a leveling rake can almost act like a shovel of some sorts from a standpoint of being able to just move material around the lawn nice and easily. And then second, for working the material into the turf and getting a nice even coverage, it's really hard to beat a leveling rake. That's especially true when you're working with an area like a slope because you really don't want to go too heavy on a spot like this because, again, too much and you're going to end up having runoff issues when it rains, so you really want to do a nice light coat. Now, in a pinch, you can use one of these guys. This is a groundskeeper rake, and you can tell it's got a serrated edge on one end and a straight edge on another end. You can use this with decent results, but I highly recommend that if you're gonna go through all the trouble of leveling your lawn, go ahead and spring for a leveling rake because it's gonna do a much, much better job. Now, let's talk about the mixture I'm gonna be using. Now, because I figured if I'm gonna be putting organic material in, I wanted to go with the absolute best that I could get my hands on, I opted for CarbonizPN from Mirimichi Green. What this is an extremely rich organic soil enhancer. It contains 50% compost and 50% biochar, which means that it's incredibly rich organic material that's going to both level the lawn, we're gonna do a pretty good job with leveling it, and it's gonna feed the soil. So it's gonna put a lot of really good material into the soil. It's gonna help with the grass just thriving and doing really, really well. Now, let's get into actual leveling the lawn. Okay, so there are a couple of different ways of spreading the mixture out on the surface you're gonna level. I prefer just to take it and just empty it out in a small little S pattern on the lawn and then use the leveling rake to work it in. So an idea of what that looks like is I've already got the bag open here and I'm just gonna kind of create like a little S pattern here. So you leaving little spots like that open. Come down here a little bit more, like that. And then to work it in, we're gonna use the leveling rake. So again, this is a real benefit of the rake because it can act almost, not necessarily as a shovel, but it does a really good job of spreading the mixture around. So literally all we're gonna do is work it back and forth just like that, just like what you're seeing here. And the idea is you wanna work it in multiple directions. So up, down, left, right, to really get a nice, even mixture, nice, even coverage. And what you're seeing there as far as the grass blades sticking up a little bit, that's what you're after. You don't want it to be fully covered up to where all the grass is fully buried, especially on a slope, because part of what we're battling with a slope, right, is not only leveling, but also when it rains, we're trying to minimize runoff. So really what I've done right here is about as heavy as I'd want to go on a slope. So just keep working it back and forth. And as you see, as I use the leveling rake more and more, the material drops in more and more of the grass blades are being exposed. So this looks really good. I'm happy with this. Right, so now once it's done, so we've done this section. One thing I like to do as well is we worked it in, we kind of scrubbed it in, as I like to say, and now we're gonna make some dragging passes. So again, if we just extrapolate this over the entire lawn, what you're gonna do is you're literally gonna drop the rake and you're just gonna drag it like this across and then kind of go back in the opposite direction across, kind of like so. And then I actually like to do it in multiple directions. So lengthwise and then diagonally. So I always mow the lawn like this way, this way in this pattern. So I tend to drag the material in that same pattern too. So I'll come up diagonally like so, and then back down, and then up, and then back down. And what this does is, again, it kind of helps to further work the material in and also helps identify any low spots potentially in the lawn. So it's pretty much, that's the entire process, guys. You'd rinse and repeat. So again, to recap, you're gonna scrub the material in really well, kind of like using that process I was showing you, just work it in all kinds of different directions, drag the rake lengthwise and then diagonally, and then after that, the next step is watering it in. So you're gonna water this mixture in pretty heavily. That's gonna allow it to sink into the turf, further kind of integrate with the existing soil. And now it's time for that bonus I was telling you about. So if you have access to a reel mower, once the soil is wet, now is a great time to use the weight of a reel mower with a roller to roll over the entire lawn. That's gonna further press the material into the turf. It's gonna help compact it in a little bit more, which again is going to minimize that runoff whenever we get some rain on the lawn. So that's a quick hack. If you're gonna do that, make sure that you disable the reel on your reel mower, because you really don't want the reel spinning when you're running over this stuff, because even though your height cut is probably gonna be higher than where this is, you don't want to introduce unnecessary wear to the reel and bed knife because it's spinning while you're basically running over dirt on the lawn, right? So make sure you disable that if at all possible. Make multiple passes, same kind of thing, lengthwise with the reel mower and then diagonally. That's gonna really work the material in. It's gonna really help with helping it settle, and that's gonna prevent you from getting a lot of runoff whenever it rains. Again, that's one of the big things we battle whenever you're leveling on a slope. All right, time for that cost breakdown that I promised you earlier. One bag of CarbonizPN is 40 pounds and covers right at 100 square feet area. You can take a look at the section of the lawn that I've got here. It's about a 10 by 10 foot area. Because my entire front lawn is 2,000 square feet, I'm gonna end up needing 20 bags of CarbonizPN to do the entire lawn. So at a cost of approximately $22 per bag times 20 bags, that comes out to $440 for the mix. And then as far as a leveling rake, a good one, you're gonna spend around $130 thereabouts for one of these guys. Now, there are cheaper options for a leveling rake, but I would encourage you to get a good one because the better ones are better constructed and they are a little bit heavier. So the weight of the rake does a lot of the work as far as leveling. So I really recommend that if you're gonna spend the money, be sure to get a good one. It's gonna hold up better. It's gonna do a better job. Now, as far as other options for organic mix, there are cheaper options than CarbonizPN. If you're willing to get the material delivered in bulk, you can definitely save some money that way. But I opted to go with this because one, it was accessible in this area and I wanted to put the best possible material that I could on the lawn since I'm just gonna be introducing an organic mix. So if you guys are interested in seeing how the lawn develops and how it recovers and bounces back from all this work that's about to go down on it, be sure to subscribe to the channel so that way you won't miss out on anything. Also, if you'd like to see another playlist that kind of completes everything that goes into creating a golf course lawn, I'll have a video that's right here that you can click on. That's gonna take you to a playlist that talks about other aspects in addition to top dressing. They're gonna help you create the best possible lawn. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.